I've got another question for you, my friend. Who has the pen that's writing your story? Curious about what that means? Well, come on, my friend. Let's dig into the soil of this together. Welcome to you. My name is D. Grant Smith. I am the growth farmer for personal development through the lens of spirituality and storytelling. And today I've got a very important question for you, something for you to really consider, especially when we get into the subject of caring what other people think about us. Every one of us is a storyteller. Every one of us is a writer, whether you do that professionally or you do that for fun or you do that as a part of your journal practice and your spiritual development or anything else. We're all writing stories. We're writing stories in here. We're writing stories right in here with our beliefs and our thoughts and our attitudes and what it is that we're fostering inside our inner garden. As you know, your mind and your heart are a garden. And what it is that we are planting and cultivating and sowing inside of ourselves is what we are going to produce with our lives through our actions, attitudes, and behaviors. Now, there are things that are also planted inside of us that we did not plant, at least not consciously. Stuff that we absorbed when we were kids, witnessing and watching and being around all kinds of different people, from our parents to our other extended family to school and classmates and teachers and church and any other experiences or input that we received, listening to people talk to each other. Whether or not we understood what it was that they were saying, we were still able to absorb that energy because that's the way the theta brainwave state works, and that's what we're at until we get to about age 8 or 9. And what that does is it plants stories, data, if you will, inside of us that become a part of our self-concept. And all self-concept is what you hold to be true about yourself, about other people, about life and the way the world works, and about God. And it's not until we get into a place in our lives where we really start questioning, why do I feel this way? Is this true? Is this a belief that I have? Or is this something else? Now, chances are it's a belief, no matter what it is. But if you've spent any amount of your time or any amount of your life trying to get other people to accept you, to approve of you, to validate you, to love you, or anything else, there is a story that is written inside of you that you might not have written, but since you're seeking out other people's acceptance and approval and validation and love, what you're doing ultimately, metaphorically and metaphysically, is you're taking the pen of the contents and the storybook of your mind, your self-concept, and you're handing it to other people and saying, I don't really know what I want for myself, so why don't you write a story for me? Why don't you tell me what I'm supposed to be? Or why don't you tell me what it is that you want, and that's what I'll become so that I can get accepted and approved of by you? Now, when we look at it from this perspective, it totally changes the game, right? Because do you want anybody else writing your story? Do you want anybody else to have the power of getting to write how you live your life, how you show up, and who you are? I certainly hope not, because that is a power that only you deserve to have for yourself. And when I went through my healing journey of coming into learning what love is and learning how to love myself and realizing in exponential quantities how much I had been such a super people-pleasing codependent person that was constantly seeking and chasing after validation and acceptance and approval and love from everybody. When I took my power back and decided, you know what? This isn't healthy. And it's also not fair. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to other people to put that responsibility on them for them getting to decide whether or not I'm good enough. The only person who gets to decide whether or not I'm good enough is me. And the same thing is true for you, my friend, which is why I no longer will give the pen of my own story to anybody, because I choose to be the writer of my story. My self-concept is my responsibility. The life that I want to live, the life that I choose to live, what I choose to foster and grow within my inner heart and mind garden, that's my responsibility. Nobody else can come in and remove the doubts and the fears and the worries and the anxieties and the negative programming. Nobody else can do that. I can go talk to a coach and I can go talk to a therapist and they can guide me through a process, but it's still ultimately my decision. And in anything that we do in changing and transforming our lives, it all comes down to us changing the story that we're telling ourselves about who we are, us changing our self-concept. Now, I wrote this book called SelfConcept Uncovered, and it's a pretty honest and open expression of mine, talking about a couple different things from my own personal journey and how I came into this awareness of just this. A, learning what self-concept is, and B, learning that I had handed the magic pen for other people to decide who I am and who I'm supposed to be so that I would feel like I was good enough. That was never anybody else's responsibility, and that should have never been anybody else's power. Because what anybody else thinks of me is none of my business. What anybody else thinks of you, none of your business. This big pen has written all kinds of awesome stories. I've got them all over my house. And I share some of them with everybody on growthfarming.com. Go check it out. You can be totally blown away. But the proverbial pen of my self-concept doesn't leave my hands, because I get to decide what it is that I am being, who it is that I'm being, how it is that I show up, and what my story is. And my encouragement to you, my friend, is for you to not give the pen of your self-concept to anybody else. You get to write the story of your life. And if there are things in your life that you don't like, instead of chasing after those things, sit back for just a little bit and ask yourself, why do I feel like I have to chase them? Because really what it is that we want when we are operating in our power, we don't have to chase anything. What we want comes to us. But if we are operating from a place of lack, from a place of scarcity, from a place of unworthiness, then we're always going to be running after something that we can never have, because whatever you run after and chase inevitably runs away. Stop chasing, stop running, stop seeking. Choose yourself. Keep the pen that writes your story in your hands. What do you think? If you're on board with this, jump down into the comments and let me know. And I appreciate everybody that gives this video and any of my videos a thumbs up. I appreciate everybody that comments, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. I love joining forces with you to help you grow into the best version of you. That's why I'm here. I appreciate you, I love you, and I'll see you again soon.